Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to the Heartland Hot Dish podcast. This is where we come to the table and rediscover the connection and meaning to our food and culinary treasures of the Great Lakes region. Join us as we discover the traditions and stories woven into the fabric of the Heartland cuisine, from the iconic dishes that define the Midwest to the hidden gems waiting to be discovered. We'll take you on a mouth-watering journey through the diverse culinary landscape of the Great Lakes area. Get ready to indulge your senses and ignite your appetite as we explore the rich tapestry of flavors that make up the Heartland Hot Dish. All right, the tapestry is 8 layers deep today, and we are going 8 layers deep on this hot dish.
8 layers deep.
I love this because it just makes me think of the lasagna that you've got, where they make the 100-layer lasagnas in the. There's a couple of restaurants like New York City do it, and it's like, oh, look at this. Yeah, you're just eating a lot of pasta in that world. This is a completely different layers of 8 layers deep in our hot dish.
I feel like we could go 16 layers in this one too, right? Like I feel like 8 layers is almost like a failure of the imagination.
Are we just doubling up?
This is where you need your deep Pyrex dish, and you want to be ready for it in this world of what it is.
Well, right. So what's interesting is this is another one that comes to us from our friends at Midwest Living, as they were looking at their best casserole and hot dish recipes.
Yep.
And this one specifically came from Waukegan, Illinois, and I think I'm saying that correctly.
You are.
Fantastic.
I'm going to go with yep.
Yeah, and this is a ground beef and noodle hot dish recipe, right? And we've done this before, where we've looked at some of these recipes. We've read through them a bit, shared some of our, the ways that we might
Adjust.
right? Well, and also I think help clarify, because they're writing recipes is really flipping hard. I've done it. You've
Make them foolproof is almost impossible.
Right. So
and even sharing in the right way that makes sense.
Right. I used to write this blog, and one of the things on the blog was this Cuban black bean recipe that was adapted from one of my friend's Cuban grandmothers. It's an amazing recipe, and my family loves it. And I wrote it down, and
Yep.
and I after making it, and I really spent a lot of time, editing it, make sure it was all good. My wife decides one day that she's going to be making these black beans, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, "Why are you doing it?
How did you get here?
Right?" And she's like, "Well, I'm just following the recipe you wrote." And I'm like, "I did not write that," but apparently I did.
Oh, the inference in recipes are really because I'm sorry. Now we're gonna do our normal drift into something else.
But this is important pretext.
No, I
right?
always like that the ingredients are written in the order you use them in and grouped together in
Mhm.
the steps that you're going to take, and you work from top to bottom. My recipes always have multiple butters. It drives Tabitha and Rachel, who used to edit my recipes, crazy. The butter could be in 3 different places, oil could be in 3 different places. It wasn't like, it's not a shopping list.
Right.
You can have a shopping list. This is not a shopping list.
As a
This is
separate
right.
list.
I want to know in step 3, I need these 3 things in these amounts, and I'm doing these things, and they're in the order I'm going to use them in. Because also the insanity of just here's some ingredients in no sensible order that we want to be in. No, I want to work my way down. I was used to. I mean, our recipes have changed over the years of how most people digest them, but it is like section A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and literally you will have salt multiple places, or you'll have, and it would drive people crazy. I'm like, no, this ain't a shopping list, guys.
Right.
This is, oh, but I've used all the sugar. No, I didn't tell you to use all the sugar. Why did you do that? It clearly told you the amount that you're meant to be.
This is your warning for those who are listening. When you're looking at recipes online, read through the entire recipe first before you just start making whatever.
I feel the reason they do that is because when you read those, that button is jump to recipe, and then it's just ingredients, method.
Yes.
Whereas you read the essay that's before it, which is always a lot, it literally has pulled the exact amounts of them in there. And I'm like, that's less than helpful if I want to adjust my recipe.
Right.
There's the dream place for a good recipe. We'll get back to the podcast.
Sure.
Is chef steps. They let you adjust the amount you want to make. And I think that's beautiful. Or in their recipes, it's like, I'll adjust to the amount of this thing I have. Because it always comes up, like me and John in the kitchen here will have brought squash soup. And we're making squash soup, and we've got quick neck squash, but we only have this much peeled. This is what we got. That's the linchpin ingredient. That is the thing that I have the least of, or the thing I want to base my recipe around. that should be the key ingredient that then tells me how much I'm making of everything else. Okay.
Right. Well, as long as we're off the topic, I'm going to say that when I was writing recipes, one of the things that I really tried to do was to optimize for using things in the quantities that they come in.
Sure, a can. Oh yeah, that
Right,
you
right.
can
So,
go down a
so
rabbit
instead
hole
of like
that.
having like a cup of canned tomatoes, like,
Right.
if that's the one that comes in the can, let's use the whole can and let's change up everything so we're making something in a batch.
And you
nobody's
pick
left
like
with-
2 or 3 keys. So you might be like, I'm going to use a little more than this or a little less than this in that
Sure.
place, and be okay with it. 100%.
Yeah.
We would adjust that. That's where I think that like you have recipes that you get that are accurate, and then you've got ones that are user friendly at home.
Yeah.
And those are 2 different things. The like recipes from the bakehouse that are in the cookbook are not the same as necessarily the bakehouse is using.
Right.
They're very, very close. But when you're talking those kind of quantities, it just changes the game.
You
a lot.
have to make them
Yeah.
user friendly.
And I shouldn't say that
for
because
home
I didn't write any of the
kitchens, yeah.
bakehouse's recipes,
So
but in my mind.
I always appreciate the recipes where there is a narrative, and again, I'm talking about online recipes where there's a narrative where they're explaining, and then this is why I did this here and why I felt like it worked to get this. However, you could also do this and still achieve a similar result.
100%.
Right,
Okay.
which leads us to this lovely recipe, which has some challenges. The egg casserole, but we're going to talk about it, and we're going to give some folks some recommendations and some chefy thoughts on this dish, because this is something that serves 6. Bake time is 55 minutes.
They're always so long, these casseroles. That's the only downside of them all.
Well, you put you can prepare them ahead,
100%.
get them ready, right?
Sure.
You know when it's not long? Tater tot casserole.
And you can check out that issue.
Yeah.
Right, that episode.
Previous
right,
episodes.
right.
Flick back like 2 or 3 episodes and you got it. 100% agree.
Okay. Right. And as far as the thing that we're talking about, right, about having units, 1 8-ounce package of cream cheese softened. That's nice. It's nice that this works easily with that. But it starts off with 1 pound of ground beef. The second one is already a little bit tricky because it looks like this might be a mistype because it says 2 8-ounce can tomato sauce, but it might be a 28-ounce can.
I think
of
it's the
tomato
28 ounce. I would
I-
hope it is.
I think so too.
The space between the 2 and the 8 is not helpful on that page.
No, not very helpful. 1 teaspoon of dried basil crushed. Right. It's really.
I
doesn't
put a
matter.
book on top and gave it a little crush.
Right.
Isn't dried basil already crushed?
Pretty much.
Pretty much. And even if it wasn't, I think it would still be okay.
Yeah.
Right. You're right. It's not going to be. Does anybody have dried basil powdered? I've never seen that.
That sounds awful. and you
It
shouldn't
does,
do
right?
that.
Yeah, no. Half teaspoon of sugar, a half teaspoon of garlic powder, quarter teaspoon of salt, quarter teaspoon of pepper, 1 cup dairy sour cream, in 1 8-ounce package of cream cheese softened. I like that they say dairy sour cream and not a non-dairy sour cream.
I think
Maybe
that
I think the
That's-
first one is the 2 8-ounce cans.
You think it actually is 2 8-ounce cans?
Has to be because the way they've written the next one is 1 8-ounce package of cream cheese. It is 2 8-ounce cans of tomato soup
It's
sauce.
one
Has to be.
8-ounce package, but that's at
All
least this
written like
has
that.
a singular as opposed to cans. The way I would think it would say 2 8-ounce cans.
Oh, you see, somebody's going to get in trouble at Midwest Living for
Yeah,
their
right.
pluralizing or not pluralizing their cans.
So
Okay.
so that's a little bit tricky. The half cup milk is not tricky, although I'm assuming that it's whole milk, right? Because you can probably use whatever milk that you like, but whole milk is going to perform better. 2 tablespoons chopped onions.
See, that's the bit where you're like, oh, you might as well have just chopped half an onion at that point. Like, just say half an onion. Only the size of
Oh,
onion. 'Cause
right.
that's the bit where you're like,
Well,
what?
but onions are very different in size too. You can have
Sure.
small. They
Sure.
are.
And then
right,
it just says onion.
right.
It
And it
doesn't say
also just
white.
and it also just
white,
says
red.
onion.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
Yep.
I'm not measuring out tablespoons of chopped onion.
Well, you also probably have a good sense on what a tablespoon looks like, and I think this is one of those things that as you get more comfortable in the kitchen, you start getting a better sense of what those quantities
Yeah.
are, right? So that you don't. I don't expect anyone to measure chopped onion, and if I'm seeing chopped onion to me reads larger than a dice,
100%.
right?
Yep.
And if you're going to take chopped onion, which is
Chopped-
going to be larger than a dice, and try to squeeze that into a tablespoon,
I don't even know, like, here's some choppy bits.
Right.
That
That seems right.
Yeah.
That-
I want to use the slap chopper.
you do. You always.
Oh, I so want to use a slap chopper. Somebody's buying me one for Christmas.
kills me. Okay.
Don't you want one though? It looks so
no.
good. Slap chop.
No.
yeah. I kind of
It's
want
like,
to play with that.
Here's rough
Yeah.
chop. finer chop, dice,
Yeah.
minced.
Fricassee.
I love when he like describes it. Sorry, I love the way he makes guacamole. And it's like, and here it is. Here's a salsa, and now it's guac. Like,
I think
what
you're
do
going to
you
be
do?
horribly disappointed. With
I
this
am.
way
I am
with this,
going to be.
Yeah.
But I will love it. But it opens up and cleans so easily.
Again, horribly disappointed. Right, this reminds me of like the TV commercials for toys I saw when I was a kid, and it's like, oh, this is going to be wonderful, and no,
Yeah.
it's really not.
The-
It was like the clapper. Do you ever have a
Yeah.
clapper?
I always
Like
wanted one, but I never got one.
Oh, I got one,
Yeah.
and it was disappointing.
It
It didn't work on any time once. You had to
But you
really clap.
But you
really
haven't
well.
learned the lesson, and you
No,
still
no,
want
no.
the slap.
I want the
That's right.
American dream.
I love that about you.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the one that is also confounding. 6 ounces of noodles cooked and drained.
Some noodle.
Some
Any
noodles.
noodle.
6. Right.
You
How
can
much?
noodle over which noodle you
Right.
want.
Right. And how,
Pre-nut.
right. And how much are you cooking it?
Is that 6 ounces of pre-cooked or post-cooked? I have so many questions.
Yes.
within
No.
this.
So my instinct on this is 6 ounces of dry noodles that you then cook.
See, and I want that described right there because now I'm like, well, I mean, for a penny and for a pound, I got to know which one it is. Okay.
Right. Well, yeah, I think this is our job, right? We're
Yeah.
going to give people the guidance, right? And 1 10-ounce package frozen chopped spinach, again, cooked and well drained. That could be boiled, that could be sautéed, right?
Yep.
1 cup shredded cheddar cheese, which they kindly give us as
The
4
only-
ounces.
like, I do like that one. They're going to be like
4 ounces,
I'll
right?
give you the 4 ounces
Right.
of this one.
Well, which is great because, right?
It's probably the stick where you can cut it.
Well, it's right. It's the measuring of the of the shreds, but also it allows you to say, okay, I'm going to grate this myself.
Yep.
Right. And how much is that going to be? And so, okay, we'll take 4 ounces of the block of cheddar. And
I like that. Yep.
Right, I'm going to grate it myself, and that's clearly what it is.
That's very reassuring. The next bit with the direction, 5 easy steps.
Yeah. Sometimes it's easier when there might be more steps.
Sure.
Yes. And I think this is right. And again, right, I want cooking to be easy. I want this to be inspiring for folks to try to do this at home, right? Which is, I think, the desire here, right, is to try to, you might look at this and you say, oh, this is really easy, and you start to take yourself down the road of cooking, especially if you're not somebody who's cooked before, and you might find yourself frustrated. And what I really want to do is help people and get, try to, for us who are a little bit more experienced with cooking, and we can see some of these pitfalls
Yep.
might be, giving some people some guidance to help them through that and to make it an easier experience. Right. So the first step is to take the large skillet, cook beef until brown, and drain off fat, which is fine. Although that fat has plenty of
Could have
flavor.
some use for the fat, which never comes back later.
Right. So you could have some use for the fat. We can drain it off in the moment. That is fine.
Do you
Right.
when you buy ground beef? Because in our house, we
Yes.
tend to. It's either going to be a burger
Okay.
or it's all getting ground. It's all being sautéed,
Okay.
unseasoned. So we will brown it and then put it back in the fridge.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's processed. It's ready for me. I can use it in tacos. I can use it in one of my kids likes spaghetti all the time, and so like it's easy. Pull out my cooked beef. It's been browned. It's got its little bit of texture in there. We keep the fat
Yep.
separately,
Mhm.
but we always cook it. It's just ready because it
Interesting.
doesn't. I
Right.
want it in its ready state to use, and it always feels like it holds up better. My wife like freaks out when fresh ground beef oxidizes a little bit.
Sure,
She's like,
right.
"Oh, it's off."
Mhm.
Yeah, it's not. It's
Yeah.
just oxidized. And what? Sorry.
And that solves that, right?
We do like that. If you take it, you process it. We've lost Marcy. She was so excited in the previous podcast we were recording, and she's like, "We're talking about ground beef being cooked."
When you grind, Marcy, when you when you cook your ground beef, you do not salt it.
No.
No, why not?
I want the salts at the end of the game.
At the end of the game.
Agreed.
End of the
I
game.
always
Right.
season
I
at
will
the end.
use it. I will use it when I'm sautéing things like onions
Mhm.
to bring out moisture or to
Sure.
pull out.
Mhm.
But I don't want to do that with ground beef in any way, shape, or form.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Interesting.
totally at the end.
And what fat are you cooking in when you do it?
When I'm ground,
Is it dry beef? Is it dry pan? Relatively dry pan?
I do a little. I started with a little bit of olive oil.
Dried.
Old bacon fat.
Oh.
I have a little lodgy like pourer.
Yeah.
Where all the I must cook 5 pounds of bacon in my house on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Disturbing amount of bacon. Okay, so
But that's
Okay.
brilliant, right?
okay.
Right. So the next step, right, once you've drained off that fat, stir in the tomato sauce, the basil, the sugar, the garlic powder, the salt, pepper, and then bring to boiling.
Awful.
Boiling
choice.
Boiling sounds hot.
Yep.
Right.
Why would you want to boil your meat?
Right. Well, I think the idea, right, the idea here is that we're going to reduce the heat and simmer and
They want it
cover
up
for
quickly
5
and then come
minutes.
back down.
Right. Right. And I think, we can talk about boiling for a second, right? Like boiling is really, really hot, really, really active.
Yep.
Right. I think bringing it up to a strong simmer.
And staying there. Well, and they've got 2 cans of tomato sauce. It doesn't really give you 2 8-ounce cans, let's say 16 ounces, one big can, 2 small, or it could be 28 ounces. Who knows which? But we'll go with 2 8-ounce cans. I think that's what they're trying to say.
I think that's correct. Right.
So the reality is, like, what looseness of that tomato sauce are you? Are you chunky? Are you completely pureed? Like, what sauce did you buy? Because my kids, we usually will blitz any pre-made tomato sauce because one of them doesn't like the texture of chunky tomatoes.
The chunky
and things.
tomatoes.
They just don't. They can get away with the green is okay in there, but usually you got to blitz it. But that takes a big difference on how much you're reducing because you're just trying to get that water content down a little bit.
I see what you are reducing it, so it makes sense because like when you're cooking and you're adding ingredients, you have to bring the temperature back up.
Sure.
So that's what you're doing here. You're adding cold ingredients and then getting it to boiling to bring the temperature up.
Well, there's nothing that's cold in here. So it's the tomato sauce, right? There's nothing.
Well,
cold.
it's room temperature though.
Sure.
That's what I mean because it's not already cooking.
But you've already cooked your beef.
Right, but do you understand what I'm saying though? When you cook a soup,
Mhm.
and you add your ingredients, you
Yep.
bring the liquid back up to boiling
Mhm.
when you're adding room temperature or cold ingredients.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they're doing here. So that's because they were like, why are we boiling it?
Sure.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
I agree on some small level.
You don't do that, Kieran?
No.
You don't bring it back up to so
To a full rolling boil?
Never.
yeah, and then you reduce the heat back to simmering.
No.
Yeah. Because otherwise, it's going to take forever to get to simmering again because you just added ingredients that are not
I just let it be.
Up to temp.
I'm too busy. And the reality is they're only doing it for 5 minutes while I'm doing all this other shit. I'm ready. Sorry.
Oh, it's one
Now
of
I'm going to have to do it again. I said shit on time.
It's
I've
one
said
of
it
the
again.
you guys. I'm not kidding. It's
Today-
in
today's our
French.
saltiest day.
In French culinary school, it's one of the first things they taught us when we made stock, soup, whatever. Yeah,
Right.
bring it up and then bring it back down.
Right.
So I was told not to do the other. I was doing the other
Yeah,
way. I was
yeah.
told never to boil.
But
A
so,
boiled soup, a boiled sauce is a spoiled sauce. Not allowed to do it. Fundamentally.
well, yeah,
not
if you
allowed.
keep it ripped.
No, told
Yeah.
not never to
Yeah.
get there. It
Yeah.
always has to be a sculling point.
Mm.
So that when you got milk sculling, it just comes up before.
Right.
Before it,
Oh, yep.
before it
Gotcha.
envelops the
Yep.
pan.
Yep.
And it was always you have to keep it at skull. I mean that's a bit. I'm good. I just
Yeah.
I remember being
Yeah.
clipped around the head anytime anything was actually boiling in any kitchen I was ever in. I was like clipped around the head. So
Right.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Well, no, yeah, for sure. You have to keep an eye on it though, because you can't let it rip, because then you will boil the shit out of your
Yes. The other place is
But-
like for me the interesting one is that this next bit where they keep the onions out and they put it in the cream cheesy stuff and like why the hell?
Well,
did
Right,
they-
well, our readers haven't got our
I'm
listeners
jumping,
haven't-
yeah, yeah.
our listeners haven't gotten that right
Yeah.
because step three is probably the most problematic.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. in step
Everything
three.
happens
But
in the
also,
next.
why didn't you put the noodles in with the rest of the ingredients?
On a stretch, it's 4 lines, but really it's 3. Everything happens
Yeah.
in this next.
I-
step.
and really, what I had wanted for this for the first step of this should have been right. Preheat an oven to 350.
Oh my God! When no one does that as
Right.
well, like first thing you do,
Right. First thing, preheat the oven to 350 degrees.
pan
gonna-
hits the pan
that's
hits
gonna
the stove, ready for the beef to accept. Is my very
that's
next thing.
that's going to take a little bit of time.
They never tell you about the equipment.
And the other part, right, is take that 8 by 2 inch baking dish, grease it, and have it ready, right? So that it's all so that
8
everything
by
is.
8.
I know it's such a
You're
weird size.
killing me.
I know it's a
8
weird
by
size.
8.
No, and I hate when they specify a pan size. It also drives me nuts.
Right, they say grease 2-quart or an 8 by 2.
It has to be 9 by 13. It has
Alright.
to be.
Okay.
Can you do that quick math? 8 by 8 is 8 by 2 and 9 by 13.
Are we talking about volume? Are we going into
Right.
volume?
Right.
Okay.
Marcy has the phone, so Marcy can do the calculator.
Marcy,
if-
go
I'm
ahead.
just
if she
looking at
was
the
so.
recipe.
Oh, if she's so inclined. Okay, so step 3, right? So it's combine the sour cream, cream cheese, milk, and onion. And the onion in this point, as I think Kieran had suggested, is raw, right? Completely raw onion. So we're combining these ingredients. So then we're having that aside, and we've got our let's call it our thickened dairy layer. Or thickened, and frankly, if I was using raw onions, which I think would be okay,
Has a place.
right? But what I would do is it would be finely it would
Yeah.
be finely diced, right, as
Yeah.
opposed to just chopped.
Indeed, I want to finely dice. Chopped is a rough onion.
I might even do grated onion if I was doing this raw, especially in this.
Like a good big grate on the onion.
Sure.
Can love it. A grated vegetable can be. It's one of those things I stay away from regularly. But like my kids, now I've been talking about trying to find my kids recipes to go in there. But grating is a nice way to get kids involved without having to get the knife out.
Yeah, I might even go finely grated on the onion.
Ooh,
I know.
Okay.
I know.
So,
Okay.
especially for how they're using it.
Exactly in
100%.
this raw cheesy dairy thing.
So go for it. You're
right.
combining.
So now you've got right on one hand. So you've started already with your cooked noodles, right? Those are
Somehow they were done.
They're already done. Your spinach is already cooked because that was an ingredient that was there. I would have taken that spinach and I would have sautéed it again in some olive oil and drained it.
A little bit of lemon zest.
Sure,
Juice
that's
over there.
right. Right. One of my favorite things to do with spinach and really any vegetable is when it's all done, especially spinach, right? Cook it, drain it, and then drizzle it with the aggramato lemon oil.
Ooh,
Yeah,
see, there you go.
Because because you use lemon zest, which is clever because that has a similar sort of thing. It says lemon oils.
We dry them. So we'll always put them in alto sham and dry the zest, use the juice, and then put the zest over the top of it.
But lemon juice can brown, the spinach, and that's a little bit unsightly.
See, then I want my sprinkly of one of my favorites of my nutritional yeast in there too. I want that.
Yeah. Okay. So
they have combined some sour cream, some cream cheese, some milk, and some onions.
Exactly, and that's the beginning.
You know
of
what?
step
They
3.
could have just put some delicious ranch powder in there. They'd be good to go.
Oh my goodness! Right, be still my beating heart.
I know. I've been using it so much. I brought some yesterday.
Right. So we've combined the dairy. We've got our dairy layer. Now we're greasing our 2-quart casserole or the 8x8x2 baking dish, and then in the same sentence, we're layering half the noodles.
A lot just happened. I don't know where I am anymore.
Right. So step 3 starts with combining all of the dairy and the milk and the onion. Right.
Yep.
Step 2, we're greasing the 2-quart casserole.
Which we should have done right at the start.
We should have done that right at the start, but it's okay.
We're here.
It's fine, right? So we're going to grease that 2-quart casserole, and as soon as we're done with that, we're going to take half of the noodles. We're going to put that down on the first layer. We're going to take half
raw
of
noodles.
No, they've already been cooked.
They've been cooked.
Where-
they were magically
where did
cooked.
we cook
No,
because
we didn't. They came
it was not a step. The ingredients called for the 6 ounces of the noodles cooked.
They are ready to go.
Cooked and drained.
Oh.
You
Yeah.
start off with 2 cooked ingredients, right? The cooked pasta.
Somehow
the-
you overcook some noodles earlier in the week, and you've got them kicking around.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Well, it's actually no. I do. I keep you keep the ground beef.
I keep lentils and rice that way, but I don't do noodles.
Right. It's been a while since I've done this, but I have done it before where I've made, I'm boiling a big pot of water anyway.
Sure.
Right. And
I'll make like 1 pint container for the next day for like a Henry for a quick lunch or something.
right. But 6 ounces of noodles. Like if I'm doing a pound of pasta and we're gonna maybe eat like half of that, right? The rest of it goes into the fridge, and then it can be turned into any variety of leftovers.
Yes.
Right. I sometimes, this is a dirty little secret of mine. I would make like a kimchi fried rice, but using noodles.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
Right. Which
Yeah.
is kind of fun
There's
for
some people-
leftover cold
People's
noodles.
brains are hurting,
Right.
but,
But
it's
if
okay.
you have leftover cold noodles, right, this is a great thing.
Sure.
Right. So maybe you do, right, and maybe you have that.
Have you decided what noodle you're recommending?
I think for this I want to say egg noodles.
See, and I'm like, did they really mean lasagna sheets?
Oh.
Because you could. I'm now Googling 8-layer, and it's totally some of them.
But you
Have
wouldn't
spaghetti.
want to cook the lasagna sheets.
You
Are-
get uncooked. See, my wife has done that many a time. They're not oven ready, and the oven ready are 2 separate things.
Yes.
It should not be. Also, just all be oven ready. Like if you're going into like lasagna sheet production, but like they've got spaghetti,
Mhm.
and then they've got fusilli, and then they've got lasagna sheets. That's what seems to be. If you
Right.
Google the image for this one,
And nobody's using egg noodles.
no one's using egg noodles.
That's such a shame.
Don't see them anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm
I
scrolling
feel
now.
like the egg noodles would fall apart. They're so soft, and they cook in like 30 seconds. And then if you're gonna put them in
Ooh.
a baking dish, they would just fall
I
apart.
found one with tagliatelle.
Um,
Oh.
Okay, sorry.
Right.
Keep going.
Well,
Sorry.
right. It's just that my people use egg noodles in our casseroles for
100%.
for the noodle kugel.
Would you like me to noodle kugel?
No-
Grace at the deli. Her noodle kugel is very good. Outside of the deli.
Got her
her
own
new-
personal noodle
Noodle
kugel.
kugel. I think she's brought it to something once before.
Also,
Grace, if I'm wrong, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I just don't feel like it would stand up to the cream cheese. But I picture like macaroni.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
None of them in it.
Li-
Okay.
like an elbow macaroni.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and I think it can really be any.
Because the image that's on their site is completely nondescript. You cannot see a noodle inside the picture at the top. Okay, continue.
sure,
Sorry.
absolutely.
Still in step 3, everyone.
So we're still in step 3. We've layered half the noodle. That's the first layer. That's layer number 1, just in case you're keeping track.
Yep.
Layer number 2 is half of the meat, which involves all the tomato stuff in there as well. Layer number 3, half of the cream cheese mixture, which also has the onions. And then layer number 4 is all of the spinach.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's number 4. We're still in step number 3. And then we've got to go back for the rest of the meat, which is layer 5.
Tough.
And the rest of the noodles, which is 6.
That's a tough layering game. And that's all hot. That tomato is hot.
It is a tough layering game. And also, I'm a little bit disappointed that our 8 layers are not 8 completely different layers. So we've got 6 layers, but we're really working with the same 4 things.
Indeed.
Right.
Math was not important in this recipe.
No, math is very important. We're keeping track. All right, so that's noodles, and that's 6, and it's still a layer, right? So if you had a glass-walled baking
You could
dish,
see it.
you could see it, and that's important. And that's kind of like, when you're talking about the 100-layer lasagna, it's not
100%.
100 different layers. I should just be a little bit more accepting and kind because these are and when I said that we could make this a 16-layer thing, you absolutely could. You just make more stuff and you up the layers,
Yep.
and I think that would be lovely. But at that 6 layers is where we stop and we take a break and we move on to step number 4, right? Because here, and this is where I get really right. I get excited because it's layers 7 and 8 that excite me the most because we've stopped at 6 and we've got 2 more to go, but we're already on step 4. We're covering it.
Let's go
and
in the oven.
and we're baking it without those last 2 layers. So we're putting it in for 350 degrees
So weird.
for 45 minutes.
It's a long time.
It's a long time.
Everything's cooked.
especially considering everything's cooked. Exactly. And
And we've covered it, which means that we're not evaporating any more moisture.
we're not evaporating any more moisture, but remember, everything is cooked except for our onions.
Yes, our onions inside the cream cheese
But
mixture.
our onions are in. I'm actually really excited about these onions because these onions are surrounded, right, by all of this lovely dairy fat.
I am disgusted.
And there's nothing holding the dairy together
Yeah.
when it starts to warm up.
Yeah.
Right. Tell me about your level of disgust.
It's
Where's-
raw onions and soft cream cheese.
Right, which is why I want them to be finely
Yeah,
grated.
they're roughly chopped. To
Yeah,
this.
I feel like that roughly chopped is is problematic.
Was the
but-
mistake.
I
Right,
think
but-
you-
It was badly written.
But finely grated, finely
Sure.
grated, especially
I'm
with
okay.
especially with 45 minutes.
I do love a raw onion sandwich, so
Right.
I can get on board
the
with
But it
problem
wouldn't be
with finely
raw.
grated is you can't pick them out.
Oh, yeah. My wife would actually be okay if it was like half an onion in here, so she'd just go
Right.
wink.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting, because while that that onion is cooking for,
It's the bizarre
45 minutes,
I've never seen this.
right, you chill the remaining cream cheese mixture,
Fear that it could get hot.
right? Well, right. So, but here's the right. All right, so you're gonna chill it, but then here's this is where this is actually where it kind of loses me, because now you've got a chilled cream cheese mixture.
Yep.
And after that 45 minutes, you take out the hot casserole, you spread the top of it with the remaining chilled cream cheese mixture,
Yep.
and then you top it with cheddar cheese. Step number 5 is you bake it uncovered for the last 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes for we're at 350. Not super hot 350.
I'm not caramelizing. I'm just warming. It's
Wha-
warming. If that's a warm, 10 minutes of 350 is nothing.
350 would I think would melt. 350 would melt.
There's some
the
chili
cheese.
bits. I bet there's still some chili bits.
I,
Depends how
right, yes.
compressed all of it is.
Yep.
But the fact that you've also pulled this right from the fridge, because you've made sure it stayed cold.
You chill. It was specifically chilled it. You chilled the last little bit of the cream cheese mixture.
Marcy's face is so good from previous podcasts. This one is so different. I like that
Right.
the previous we were recording the tater tot episode and she's sewing and now she's so
But I am now very into this because this is wonderful stuff. Because this is very outside of my comfort zone. This is very.
I'm just picturing like this cheese barely like separating
Oh.
out of you.
I was
pull it out of
surprised
the
there was
oven.
no breadcrome or egg in it.
Yeah.
I did want those.
Oh,
in there, but-
well, no, I'm surprised there's no like starch chopping, like some kind of like grated potato or tater tot or French fry or potato chip.
Nope.
Something, but it's just all like this soft layer of. Well, it's not entirely soft because you have raw onion in it.
I mean, it's warm now.
It is warm.
It's slightly warmed with whatever shredded Kraft cheddar cheese you throw on top, separating, making it greasy.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
now baked for 10 additional minutes.
We're now and we've added those last two layers. So we've got layer 7 and layer 8. Layer 7 is the cream cheese, which is started off cold and is now going to be warmed, but won't be fully melted. But the cheese on top should be now.
Yeah, the cheddar's going to melt on
should
top.
be fully melted.
And the last layer was noodles before we put this on, right?
The last layer before.
Yep.
You added your second half of beef.
Yeah,
and
all the stuff. It
noodles.
went topped with the remaining meat and noodles. So noodles is the top layer. So we're putting cream,
Yes.
cheese mix
on top of the
But
noodles.
we're covered up, which is why it was covered. We didn't want it
Yes.
getting crispy.
Nope, absolutely. Yes. Right? No, that's
Logic.
right.
That
Yes.
was logic.
That was very good. Right. Thank you for clarifying that. But that's important. Right.
Sure, I'm
Totally
not
important.
I was concerned of the cover, but they're covering up for
Yes.
the not crispy noodles. Okay, all right, and then we're baking for our 10 minutes.
And then we're baking it for 10 minutes. And I feel like, right, that cream cheese will commingle with that noodle layer.
I'm guessing they want that slightly different temperature.
Yes.
I'm guessing it was chilled and then only baked for 10 minutes so it wouldn't commingle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. And making a nice discrete layer
Yeah.
there on the top. I believe the instant or the desire is to warm the cream cheese through.
Yep.
And melt that top layer of cheese.
Yes. I've also seen this with rice
Where would the rice go? Where instead
of the noodle.
Instead of the
Instead of the
noodles.
noodles.
Yep.
Right. I like how it has this kind of Italian flair to it.
It's like a poor man's lasagna. It has got some layer or like a baked kind of pasta dish.
Right. So instead of like either a bechamel or ricotta, we've got the cream cheese sour cream.
And that's a
flair.
very American thing. Like making a bechamel over here seems like so much work. Folks really avoid it. At least
Yes.
my
No, you're correct.
mother-in-law's generation. It's a very
Right.
easy thing to make, but they do not want to do it.
I don't know if you heard the sigh or if it was just in my own head, but it's right. It's a little frustrating.
They
'cause
would
right.
much rather make
Right.
or use cream cheese and then try to stabilize it inside the dish.
I remember, little side personal story. I was 12 years old. I was visiting my aunt who moved to Iceland, and I was 12. And she said that she was going to make her own macaroni and cheese from scratch. And I was gobsmacked.
Sure.
I was like, I didn't know that was a thing you could do. And she's like, and it's easy. And I was like, that right. And she makes a bechamel and she puts in some cheese, right, and whisks it all together, right, and I had in my 12 years of life, like
Hadn't seen it at all.
it never even occurred to me that could be a thing that was done.
My son has seen like the bechamel
Mhm.
that you make normally. You melt your butter, you add your flour, you work in your milk, which you can have flavored or not if you want to do it quick. But then Delia Smith, who was like the TV celebrity, the Martha Stewart of like the 80s, 70s, and 80s back in the UK, she did the all-in-one. You put the butter, the flour, the milk, and you whisk.
Mhm.
And you just stand there and you whisk. You keep it on the stove, and it's just the all-in-one method, and it works just fine.
Sure.
110%.
Have you
There
guys ever made macaroni and cheese with the risotto method, where you start off with the dry pasta in the pot and you just keep adding liquid until
No.
it makes a perfectly al dente mac and cheese, and then you add your cheese in. It's amazing.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Oh
it's
no,
so
I've
good.
never done that. That's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
So the all-in-one is very reassuring, like of a bechamel, and it's lazy,
Mhm.
but does the right thing. It
Sure.
means you don't have
Right.
to have two separate pots. And it's only really works in like home cook quantities. You don't want to go above like 8.
Sure.
Do you want the best bechamel I ever experience I ever saw? I might have said this on a previous podcast. I should get fact checked and see if I have said it before. I cooked for Goldman Sachs Chairman Dining.
Mhm.
It was in Fleet Street. I was on the top floor, but they opened a trading floor food hall. And that sounds kind of crappy. It was not a crappy food hall. It was wildly impressive. And so they had this pasta machine that was shipped over from Italy. It cost like $150,000. We had a machine that softened the water to the same water, this specific spot. It was very fancy. But we're making bechamel for, multiple thousands of people. And I was there and I was like, damn, so you got this big steam kettle. If you've ever cooked in, in big kitchens, big steam kettle is usually what you do stocks in. But we needed this thing full of bechamel completed. And the ability for you not to burn that, even in a steam kettle, is you're going to mess it up.
Yeah.
And so this guy just got a very deep, so there's hotel pans, a deep plastic hotel pans in an industrial microwave, put the flour, the butter in there cold, put it in the microwave, put some time on, ping, bechamel base, or the roux was done.
Wow. Huh.
And you're like, that's got to be shit. Like, that's not for me. And
But it was
worked.
fine, right?
Right, there was nothing wrong with it. We used high-quality flour, we used high-quality butter. And he's like, no, it's perfect. It explodes the molecules of flour that absorb the butter, and it's happening in there. And I was like, huh. There is a place for microwave, and I do tend to completely avoid them.
Yeah.
But making a roux in a microwave, very, very clever, and works really well.
See, I go the other way with my home stuff. So I will make the roux in the pan, but I'll warm up my milk in the microwave for a little bit.
Oh, see, I always have flavored milk kicking around.
Like, gotcha.
I have
You
that. It's
add-
like,
I'm sorry, you add warm milk to warm roux.
yeah.
Yes.
No, you're supposed to add cold milk. to
No,
milk.
girl,
Yes, you
no,
are.
no. See,
Yes,
that's
you
I know,
are.
but that's like the thing they tell you, and it's not a real thing.
It is a real thing.
It's not. I've done it. I did the experiment. I remember doing it.
It is a real thing, or you end up with like
don't.
lumps.
No.
Yes, you
You-
do.
Lies.
that's what a whisker is for, and that's why you go slowly. It's
But
right,
then you
right,
got to
right.
flavor
Oh,
your.
no.
Right.
We make. That's the trick of the butterscotch pudding, which is basically a roux of making butterscotch pudding. Is everything has to be hot and worked really.
You guys
quickly.
are killing me. In
I
this
know.
episode.
This is the
Like,
French
the
classically
whole-
trained chef over here, also going no.
No, French classically trained chef.
I know.
You bring it to a boil before you reduce it to
No.
sugar. Everything-
No.
And that's the other reason why, especially if you're using roux, because you need it to boil in order for the fat to surround the starch molecules. 100%.
You have to
100%.
It doesn't have to be right.
You have to boil.
Wait. So
before
just
you
as
use
a point, so instead of arguing this, I'm going to
We
suggest.
could have a roux off.
Well, no, I'm going to
Bechamel.
suggest something to Marcy because I'm kind of curious about her perspective because it's a French technique question,
Sure.
right?
I'm going quiet.
Okay. So,
mute myself.
right, and we've talked about this before. Right, we've talked about this before on the podcast. Is the beurre meunier. Now,
Ooh.
beurre meunier combines the butter and the flour together, and you can add it into a dish at the end to thicken it. But you would never bring it up to a boil at that point. You're just whisking it into the hot sauce to thicken.
Mhm.
Is that correct? Or would you, when you apply the beurre meunier, bring your sauce up to a boil as well?
No, because beurre it's already made.
The beurre meunier is just right. It's just mashed together, right? The butter and the flour without the addition of any heat whatsoever. Right. So at that point, right, you've just combined your butter and your flour.
Your butter and your flour that's mashed together
It's
without
mashed-
the liquid.
Right, because that's the beurre meunier. The beurre meunier, you're massaging the butter and the
Right.
flour
Yeah.
equal parts together.
Yeah, and then
Right.
you're adding it to your liquid.
You're adding it to the liquid at the end of the cooking, and you would never boil. I don't think I would never boil it.
You have to bring it up to a boil. Otherwise, it's going to be lumpy and clumpy, and the fat is not going to properly thicken or surround the starch molecules, which are spiky.
We've lost everyone on this
round out.
podcast at this
Yeah.
point.
But you
So
have
it's- it-
thoroughly surrounded the starch by massaging it and by kneading it in. That's the
No,
point
but
of
you
the
need-
kneading.
you
That's the
need
part of the
heat
massage.
in order for it to thicken the liquid.
Sorry. Would everyone in this room agree that Harold McGee is like one of the go-to science foodie people in the world?
Yes.
Harold McGee's food science books.
Sure.
Do you know what he says about milk and bechamel? Because I had to look it up because I'm pretty sure it's where I read it. When making a bechamel sauce, you should not boil the milk. Instead, it should be warmed and scalded, meaning it is heated but not all the way to boiling, as adding cold milk can lead to lumpy bechamel. Sudden temperature changes
But is he
can cause the
adding?
molecules of
Right,
flour
But
in
did
the
he?
roux to
Does he
adjust.
say? Did he heat the butter and flour? Did he heat the roux first? Is he
Yes,
adding?
everything is hot
Okay,
together.
no,
It's all hot
no,
together.
cold liquid in hot roux, or vice
Right.
versa.
My man,
Well, we will.
my man with the plan.
We'll call up Harold. We'll see. We'll invite him on, and we
Oh
can.
my
right,
God,
right.
that would be an amazing game.
Right.
Okay, sorry.
All right. So.
Returning to our 8 layers.
Oh
We
yeah,
really
yeah. We
drifted.
that's right.
Remember this one's about, I
we
think.
did have a plan over here. So right.
We've lost Marcy. She may never come back to our
See,
podcast again.
Guys, listen. So getting back to this recipe, though,
Oh, good. She's left
there's
it.
because
because you
obviously,
could use the bechamel instead of the sour cream cheese mixture.
well, you
100%.
could.
Because now we've convinced everybody how easy
Would,
it is
would,
to make
would you,
a
how about
bechamel.
staying here, would you agree Americans in general avoid making bechamels? I can think of no mother, grandmother that I've interacted over here with the exception of one that we went to culinary school. One of Joni's aunts went to culinary school at Washtenaw. She was a teacher. Everyone else avoids it. They want to use their cream cheese. They might put some stabilizer in there, and that's why commercial cream cheese has so many stabilizers in to hold it together.
Sure.
Well, are we talking about a casserole?
Your eyebrows are doing all kinds of
Specific-
things. I got such dirty eyebrow look.
Are we talking about a casserole?
No, I mean in general.
You're
I mean,
pushing those
I
eyebrows
mean,
down.
I would add that lasagna to an American feels very similar to being a casserole to them of how they bake it and how they're putting it together.
Oh yes.
They will not make
Right.
a bechamel.
So you guys, we got off on a tangent about macaroni and cheese, and I do want to say
Yeah.
this: the very first recorded casserole was in 1250, and it was macaroni and cheese, but it was layers of pasta sheets with cheese.
Yeah.
It's just like a lasagna,
Mhm.
So, I just wanted to point that out because I'm guessing they probably didn't cook the pasta first, and they did that so you could create this layer, right? I'm imagining that the cream cheese in this recipe similarly is just you're adding some kind of form to these layers so that it creates that integrity, right?
I don't know how much
and-
integrity it's got.
Is well
We've got like a loose tomato sauce.
the
tomato sauce is the beef.
the
Seasoned
issue I have with the integrity of this dish is that you don't have 8 layers.
I totally have 8 layers. I counted them.
You don't have 8
Did you
layers.
miss the counting part? That was totally counting.
I
there's
counted.
Definitely 8 layers. All right, all right.
There's not. They're not. Number
You want
one.
distinct layers.
Okay, because you're combining the beef and the noodles, right?
No.
Right, but then
no, you're combining the beef and the tomatoes.
But the 6th and the 7th layer, or whatever it is, are again
It's just more of the cream
it's
cheese
just
than
more.
the cheese.
Yeah, you're just
Right.
repeating these.
But when you have your
ingredients.
100-layer lasagna, it's not 100 distinct layers. There's
Yes.
right. It's
I
the noodles and the
want
meat and the bechamel.
8 different layers of 8 different things in this dish, and I'm bummed that it's
Right.
not.
That's what
I
let
am.
you down
I am.
from the beginning?
Yes, 100%. Well, no, what let me down from the beginning was the raw onions and the cream cheese. I think that's horrid, but
Right. So right.
but okay. But coming back to the bechamel.
She's woken up.
thing.
She's in now. I don't think
Back
we're
to
going to
the
get a word in
bechamel
edgeways. Okay, cool.
I think bechamel is just like an extra step for people, and it
Oh.
is something where like people often do try to find like ways to cheat having to do it the right way. Like I know people who literally just throw flour into milk and cross their fingers and hope for the
No,
best.
I think that it's a wildly avoided technique or
Mhm.
process because it's
Right.
another pan, right? And this is meant to be, and that's all the Heartland. The hot dishes are meant to be this put together thing. I just, in noting of like interacting culinary wise with like home cooks, it is bechamel is like off the
Sure,
inventory.
I think you're absolutely correct, and I think our little conversation is a good proof text as to why nobody takes it on. Because, like, for me, it feels really easy, but listening to this, it sounds like it's a flippin' nightmare. Right.
We've got some feelings.
We're-
about it.
right.
Well, like
well, okay, everybody's
Right.
been trained differently.
we have.
Right.
I will.
But,
s-
And-
but I think the bottom line, and I think the thing that we can all agree on is maybe if you do things a little bit differently, the bechamel might be a little bit lumpy, but it's going to work. You're going to have a
It
you're going to
would
have a
just
thick
stabilize the
milk
whole
sauce.
together.
I
in here as the
guarantee
cream.
both of you, my bechamel is not lumpy.
Neither is mine.
I remember learning bechamel, like, because you learn your mother's sauces.
Sure.
Learn your
in the
mother's
day.
sauces. Yeah.
And then I came home and I distinctly remember my mum using Delia Smith's like all in one. It just goes all in the pan, all at the same time, all cold, like literally cold butter, flour and milk. And she just stood there and whisked. And it came out and I was like, God, and it didn't not work, right? And it was annoying because you're like, oh, I see, but mine's still better.
Right.
I was like, no, this is like there are ways to abuse the method because the science can still work of what it needs to.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like that would work at all. But you've seen it, so
I've seen it. My mother made it all
I
the
know,
time. That
yep.
was how she made bechamel. Sorry.
Okay. So clearly in this recipe, right, the cream cheese sour cream mixture is a shorthand for bechamel. This feels very much like a Midwestern version, an easy version of lasagna, of stuff that you've got that is.
And the
laying around.
only add I would have put in that cream cheese mixture would have been to put a couple of egg yolks.
Oh, now, quick. So, a question about the cream cheese, because they say in this to soften the cream cheese. How would you go about softening cream cheese in an easy kind of
in
way?
a KitchenAid.
So, but that's the thing, right? So, if you're gonna soften the cream cheese with a beater,
you're breaking down what are the stabilizers in there. So it's like mayonnaise. If
right.
you whisk like Hellmann's, it will eventually break down. Like it's held together with molecules of emulsification, and really what's happening. Processed cream cheese, and I shouldn't even say processed. Even good quality cream cheese has stabilizers to hold it together. One of the claims to fame of the creamery is theirs doesn't have stabilizer in it, and it can be a pain to work with.
Sure,
because it wants to split out and doesn't hold itself together. But I would want to beat it to come together, and it's got sour cream in there too.
Right, right. So,
My
you're gonna have to beat that or fold that or right.
Yeah, it's like
I would have
do
probably
more
just
than
used
just
sour
a
cream
bowl.
and some ranch powder and been good. Buddy, I'm on board.
No, I
Sour
know.
cream ranch only. They don't even use the cream cheese and the mayo.
Yeah, you've lost Marcia.
I can take out the onions because I've got it in my ranch.
My
pan.
ranch powder and putting it in this.
Yes, I am, and it's going to be delicious.
I
Okay.
feel so bad for the ranch powder right now.
I think this is going to be great. I think it would also be great doubled up, so that you've got, so you've got those first 6 layers doubled again. So you'd have the 12, and then the last 2 still on top. So that would be 14 layers.
Yeah, I think like to me,
14 layers deep.
Yeah. 2 weeks, 2
right.
week layers.
I
think what I want is a more easier divider with it, like that spinach is a layer that's been drained well can work that way. It's going to be a bit of a bugger to spread some of this stuff. And that's the bit with the cold cream cheese that we put back in the fridge.
Right.
That's not going to be the easiest thing to spread over the top.
Yeah, that's going to be tricky. Yeah.
And in fact, I would probably, should I step into this dish? That last step, if I was trying to stay honest to it, I think that I would have the cream cheese left out for the 45 minutes. Okay, spread it nice and evenly, put the cheese on top, and then I'd just broil.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because I just want, because that's going to transfer the heat in the same way.
Right.
It's going to get a crispier top of the grated cheddar cheese on top. And really no harm, no foul. And broil for like 2 minutes. So cut down the cooking time. It's doing the same result. The underneath heat is heating it. We're not talking like many, quarters of inches. It's not that much cream cheese that's hitting that top. And it really is cream cheese and sour cream because it's somewhat similar amounts. It's not wildly the same. It's funny that it's been loosened with a little bit of milk.
Yep.
I don't know that you needed to. That would be my only other thing. I probably wouldn't even bother putting the milk in.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know why you put in the milk just to make it looser.
Right.
I want your baking. Are you looking up the science, Harold McGee?
How to use a Burmini?
Oh.
Burmini, right, sorry. Right. Whisk it into simmering or boiling. Sorry, right.
Fucking.
right.
Bring
Bring the liquid back to a boil. Right.
Boiling.
Bring the liquid back to a boil.
Who is that? What was the source of that? Because you can find anything on the internet.
See, it's about it's all about flour molecules exploding.
You get your original ideas.
I know this from when they were making a couple of the food science books, and it's about flour molecules exploding. They did
Right, that's what Marcy was saying about the flour molecules.
But you don't have to be a boiling liquid to get there.
I like how you two are agreeing.
Agreeing to disagree?
No, agreeing to agree. It's about the flour molecules exploding.
It's about the flour molecules. Well, it's about the fat surrounding the flour molecules, right? Because the the starch molecules are spiky.
Yep.
You need the fat to
drift away
surround
from my
it,
mic.
to round them out. In order to not lump up, you need them surrounded to create a smooth sauce, right?
Yes.
And then for it to thicken, and in order for it to thicken, you need it to boil.
Yes. So
Yeah.
my mother's silly roux works
Hmm.
is because of constant motion.
Yeah.
If you allow constant motion, it changes some of the science of how flour molecules interact because of the fat covering of what it is,
Right.
protecting the land, the starch to do what it is. It's not. It's abusing the science, or at least using the science in a different way.
Mm.
So I would say I'm going to tell you that it does work.
It's science.
But I've always, to this day, would do hot milk, hot roux.
Mhm, mhm.
The other thing that I would do to this 8-layer casserole.
This episode
Right.
is brought to you by bechamel. That isn't in this recipe at all.
There's no bechamel in this recipe.
There is no flour. There's no butter. It's only the milk.
But to be fair, the cream cheese mixture replaces a bechamel,
It is,
right?
yeah.
With stuff that is available, ready.
That is an
you don't
American
have to
thing.
do anything.
100%.
with,
Yeah.
right. What I would actually do to sort of Italian this up a little bit, Italian American it up a bit, would be to put some Parmesan into that cream cheese mixture.
Yeah.
Just for the flavor, and it wouldn't even have to be good Parmesan. I would do the stuff from the green can, mix that stuff in.
The green can? The plastic guy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cellular. Oh, I love
You
that
know
stuff.
why? MSG.
Oh, my. I love that stuff. That's like if I'm having a really rough day, that on spaghetti makes me really happy. Just, again, probably just the MSG and the words. See, I want some other things in there. They had garlic powder. You could have sauteed some onions and garlic with the beef. If you're going to the effort of you're boiling, because they asked us to boil a bit, simmering up this thing. I want to make a more flavoursome thing. I'd want a little bit of oregano in there. I want a little bit of herb action other than just basil happening.
Right. In fact, right. If I like using oregano and marjoram if it's going to be something that's going to be cooked for a longer
a
period of
big
time
thing.
because basil has this way of when you cook it longer, getting
Is oregano the one that's in all the pizza joints with the little duster?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
marjoram's the one that the Americans don't know that well.
And marjoram is kind of a nice little blend of
Yeah.
similar flavors to oregano and basil. But
I always
Yeah.
think they're not that
Right.
wildly different, but I feel like
It's
marjoram is the one over here that most people are like, what?
it's
I-
a little
is
more
this-
subtle
Yes.
but I also feel like it holds up better to longer cooking as
That's-
opposed to
than
as opposed
basil. Yeah, that
than
makes
basil
sense.
does
Yeah.
because basil can get a little stewy.
I was also surprised that there was no onion powder in here in that cream cheese.
I would
mixture.
do onion powder over chopped onion any day. It's just
Grated
like-
onion. I'm all aboard on this grated onion thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
Yep.
No.
It's
Finally-
not terrible.
finally
I
grated
think the noodle's the interesting one. If you are listening and going out to make this recipe, is what noodle you would use. And I don't know what I would suggest. I would like the idea of it being a noodle rather than lasagna. I think lasagna makes more brain sense for me of what it is. But like, I like the idea of like some fusilli or something fun in there.
Have you tried the Rusticella d'Abruzzo? What was it? Zagne a pezze?
Is that the wavy?
It's a small little square. It's a little wavy, but
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
small
yeah.
short form.
Yep,
it's
yep.
right
It's
from
like
the
little,
primo
little guys
grano.
that are like that big.
No, they're a little smaller.
Do you know what's in
That's
our
fine.
house right now that we've been? Sorry, my kid doesn't like lots of pasta shapes. One of them, he has a very limited, so just a silly dietary requirement. I got Rustichelli's the alphabet ones.
Oh yeah,
They're so great,
they are.
Yeah.
like dumbly good.
Yeah.
Any-
Oh yeah.
Cook really quick.
Anything rusticellas.
No, but
Yeah.
those little letters, they don't fall apart.
Yep.
They hold together right. It's like rice, but better.
Yeah.
Albeit he hates them. The other kid loves them, which is just funny. But I was like, this is genius. Like as a quick pasta cook thing, it's like angel hair on steroids,
Yeah.
and it comes. They do not overcook. They somehow don't stick together. That thing is great.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I just made it for myself last week.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
We brought it as a stocking filler that Santa Claus brought. Kids, if you're listening, don't listen. Santa Claus brought was the Rusticella pasta.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sorry. I don't think that would be the
So
correct noodle to put in here.
No,
Not,
I
not
agree.
the alphabets.
Not the alphabet.
Not the alphabet letter. I like something like the fusilli would be kind of fun.
I think
quirky and-
fusilli. I think
I also wouldn't mind shells in there. They're just something that like captures some goodness in
penne.
the game.
Yeah, I think something that's hollow to soak up whatever.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yep. Shells? Do we say shells?
Shells.
shells, some
things
kind
like
of shell would be
shells,
good in there.
macaroni
Yep.
penne.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Not
and,
your-
and I think the shells actually with the meat and the cream cheese kind of feels like a stuffed shells. kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
thing
yeah.
to
Well,
me,
that
right?
to me, none of this is bad in a stuffed shell. Like a giant
Oh, yeah.
version of this stuffed inside a pasta shell would be
Yeah.
delicious.
No, and the more I think about it, shells. Yeah. I want
There's
shells.
nothing about this that is delicious.
I know. I would eat it.
I think this is great. I would totally eat this.
I would totally eat this.
Yes.
I'm not a
Yeah.
big spinach fan, and that we've used frozen wouldn't.
No, frozen's right.
I mean, I could replace that with another green vegetable.
But it's
if I
going to be
have
in the casserole, and the
Yeah, yeah.
spinach is going to be good. It's
Yeah.
it's a layer, makes you feel like you've got a vegetable in it.
And honestly, my cream cheese, if I make this, will have my ranch powder in it. I'm a super fan now.
Yeah.
Not
Of the
necessarily
ranch
sauce.
powder.
Right.
I have used the ranch powder in a lot of things recently.
Yeah.
Right.
I haven't put it in soda yet, but I'm
Right.
going to.
Right. I also might use a different finishing cheese on the top instead of the cheddar. I'm like I might use something like a
Mimolette?
I was thinking no. I was thinking something that goes more with the flavors of the dish, like maybe like an Asiago.
Or Mimolette.
Right.
Any reason you can use the cannonball cheese is just a happy cheese to use in
A
there.
little sweet.
Oh my god, it would be so good on top of this. I love the Mimolette. I was always told it was the cheese you use for fondue.
Oh.
I was always told Mimolette was fondue cheese.
What cheese?
Mimolette. It's the one that's like
Mimolette?
literally in a cannon, and it's very, very hard and
Yeah, and
very,
very orange.
Very orange.
Ew.
It's like a bullet.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's not
Yeah.
crumbly at all.
Marcia's not liking anything today.
No,
right?
she really turned her off on this dish. Last things on this, we did a lot of recommendations on previous ones of hot dish. I don't mind all of the things. Like I said, I'd probably want to add egg into my cream cheese mix just so it cooked, especially the lower layers. I wouldn't necessarily have kept the cream cheese off either the top layer. I'd have been okay with it in there from the beginning.
So keep for that 40.
I'd have just
Right.
done it all at once, and maybe the cheese I do at the end to broil, but I don't know that there's a lot
Right.
of effort to putting
Right.
another layer on while it's baking hot.
Sure.
You're just
I know,
asking
right.
for trouble. I don't know the value
right.
add.
It certainly sounds certainly like an effort, but I think that difference of texture is going to be lovely.
Yeah, the only other thing I would put in there, depending on the layer of the beef and tomato and how thick or thick it wasn't, is maybe some toasted breadcrumbs. I like panko and things just to stodge. Sorry, it's not a very sexy word, but like to stodge it up. I want to make sure that anything that bleeds out of the cream cheese or out of the tomatoes that isn't quite the right consistency has somewhere to go.
Breadcrumbs, like, well, it's like we were talking about earlier. There needs to be some kind of a starch on top of this.
Maybe
I
it is that
think,
you've undercooked that pasta. Maybe
Yeah.
even if the pasta was
Mhm.
very al dente, say it's meant to be a
Right.
12-minute cook, you did 9, and it's
Yes.
got enough to
Right.
pull it together.
No, and I think that's a very good point, especially when you're doing this and you're thinking about having the cooked pasta to have it cooked but undercooked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by a good
By a
full-
good bit. Yes.
Yeah, by a good bit.
Yeah.
I'd be minutes under. Ooh, she's gonna wake up at 56 minutes and be in love again. Are we gonna talk about bechamel again?
No, no, I do love my bechamel. But I was just thinking about like, what about puff pastry or like,
You're making it into a pie.
yeah, like
mean,
a pot
My
pie.
people understand the pie.
Yeah, like a
It-
pot pie. But
Does
it's,
that cease to be a dish then?
I'm
No.
sorry?
When does it stop being a hot dish?
Oh.
I think a pot pie is a hot dish. No,
Well, we're still thinking the whole realm of casseroles, which is one of the reasons I was thinking about that chicken pie, which we may
Yeah,
talk about later,
chicken-
which is kind of like a giant pot pie but a casserole.
yeah, that's how I usually make my pot pies at home. It's a casserole, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that.
But
yeah.
you're just topped pie, not pie pie.
no
no bot- no-
bottom crust.
no bottom
just
crust.
the top crust.
No, no, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
So fake lazy pie.
No, no fake lazy pie.
So much judgment today.
You know,
You know,
So we sell 2 pies. The Devon pies that we sell here
Mhm.
aren't legally a pie because they don't have a top.
Mm.
They're topless pies.
Right.
If you're a topless pie, you're not a pie. I don't know what you are, but you're not a pie. I should know what that is.
that is crust.
Well, like if you're if you're a topless sandwich, you
Yes.
are a tartine.
Ooh, see, Danish open sandwiches. Brr, I love Danish open sandwich. That was a whole
Yeah.
thing. I love that. That was a whole good world. Where it's like piled like a mountain on a piece of bread.
Sounds like a lovely tartine.
And then remoulade. Do you ever have remoulade sauce?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love some remoulade. I'm going to go make
Mm.
some remoulade. That's what I'm having after this. Okay,
You're gonna have some
burning things for our
remoulade.
8-layer, 6-layer,
Add-
really just 5 layers.
Out of this episode, that's what we got. You're not gonna make the casserole. You're gonna make remoulade.
And no one's ever making bechamel.
I encourage you to try making bechamel, right? But this sounds lovely. Just make sure to finely grate those onions and and add more cheeses to your heart's content.
Yeah, I'd want some more flavors of cheese. I might put some more effort into that tomato base sauce for me. But the only other thing would be like the cream cheese to add the egg yolk to stabilize.
Leave
That would
the
be my thing.
onions out.
Or if you're Marcy, leave the onions out. But but I think you suggested maybe an onion powder.
Onion,
right.
onion powder for flavor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
onion, garlic,
Right.
parsley, tarragon.
Right.
some MSG,
I suppose
otherwise
if you had
known
the
as ranch powder.
I suppose if you had the slap chopper, you could just chop it. Just chop that the
8
onion
taps.
till it's liquid.
I'm telling you, man. I'm going to buy
You're
a
going to be
small one.
so disappointed.
Sponsored by Slap Chopper. This is what the podcast is. I bet if we reach out, they would sponsor us. Give us a few bucks. All right, my lovelies. Thank you. Thank you so much, my lovelies, for tuning in and listening to today's episode of the Heartland Hot Dish podcast. Hit that like button, subscribe, and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us grow and reach more listeners just like you. Until next time, keep savoring the flavors of the Heartland and sharing the love for this vibrant community. Take care and stay connected.